Picture this. You're standing in an endless world made of blocks. There are no limits to what you can create. Your only tools? Your imagination and a few basic items. For most players, Minecraft is a world of creativity. A place where you can build anything you dream of. Castles, cities, maybe even entire universes. You gather your materials, punch some trees, mine some stone, and before you know it, you've built something amazing. But what if I told you that for some players, Minecraft isn't just about building, it's about breaking. Not just breaking blocks, but breaking boundaries. Some people see the game as more than just a virtual playground. They see it as a gateway to something much bigger, much more powerful. And in the hands of the wrong person, that power can cause real-world chaos. Now let me introduce you to a Minecraft player whose ambitions reached far beyond the pixelated world. For our villain, mining diamonds and battling creepers wasn't enough. He wasn't just interested in what he could create, he wanted to see what he could control. And eventually, he found a way to control one of the most influential platforms on the internet. Now Minecraft has over 200 million players, and most of them are just here to have fun. But out of those millions, there are always a few who think differently. Players who see the game not as a place to build, but as a place to exploit. Our hacker was one of those players. And he didn't just exploit the game, he took his skills to an entirely new level. What started as a fascination with Minecraft's mechanics grew into something much darker, something that would eventually spill over into the real world. You see, in 2020, our antagonist pulled off one of the most notorious hacks in recent history. He didn't just mess with some random servers or small-time accounts. No, he went straight for the top. We're talking global icons, billionaires, politicians, people whose voices reach millions around the world, and in one fell swoop, he took control of their Twitter accounts. This wasn't just some harmless prank. For a brief moment, the world was at the mercy of a teenager who had risen from the ranks of Minecraft players to become a hacker capable of shaking up one of the biggest social media platforms on the planet. And all of this started with a player in a blocky world, mining and crafting like everyone else, until he realized he could do more than just play the game. So what kind of person was this teenager? How did a Minecraft player go from punching trees to hacking some of the most powerful figures in the world? And what drove him to use his skills not to build, but to break? This is the story of Open, the Minecraft player who didn't just play by the rules, but rewrote them entirely.
All right, no ordinary teenager. That is how police and prosecutors are describing Graham Clark. He is the local
Twitter hack, breaking into accounts for former President Barack Obama.
Mastermind lives here in Tampa.
The attack that made international headlines appeared in court today.
17-year-old Graham Clark wanted his bail reduced. Clark has been held in Hillsborough County Jail and faces 30 felony charges, including fraud.
Welcome to Minecraft Hardcore Faction, a mode where survival is no longer about just building and exploring. Here, the objective is simple. You pick a faction, establish a base, and defend it with everything you got while plotting to raid your enemies. It's PvP at its most intense and unforgiving. But the thing that sets Hardcore Faction apart? If you die, you're banned from the server for a couple of hours. It's not just a slap on the wrist, it's a real punishment that gives death a heavier weight. Seems fair enough, right? But, as you might guess, when the stakes get this high, things have a way of escalating outside the boundaries of the game. Rival factions don't just wait around for their ban timers to tick down. No, they get creative. We're talking about hacking enemy accounts, launching DDoS attacks, even resorting to swatting. And yeah, all of this stuff is extremely illegal, but in the world of Hardcore Faction, it's just another day. This mode has developed a reputation as the most toxic corner of Minecraft's entire community. And amidst this chaos, a 12-year-old kid named Open thrived. It's 2016, and Open's obsession with Hardcore Faction led him to start his own YouTube channel focused solely on this mode. And it wasn't long before he made a name for himself. Not just for being good at the game, but for being a manipulative mastermind notorious for setting up elaborate traps and luring unsuspecting enemies right into them. Sound familiar? Maybe it's a sign of what's to come, but back then this cunning little gamer managed to build a decent following on YouTube. He was clever, strategic, and for a while, everything seemed to be going great for young Open. But here's the thing. Open wasn't just good at Minecraft, he was also very toxic. And in the already toxic hardcore faction community, that's saying a lot. He wasn't just another troublemaker, he took things way beyond what anyone could imagine. He rigged giveaways, launched DDoS attacks on players, and even targeted his own subscribers. He scammed other YouTubers, made racist comments, and turned every interaction into a toxic encounter.
I think this guy's playing around.
Who?
This dude, he's lying to me. How to? Is that a ban?
Well, why are you looking for my IP?
Not looking for it.
Oh my god. Someone came in
Yeah,
the
but
other
why
day.
would you search me in your MC Resolver?
Because I can?
Oh.
User left your channel.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
We're getting banned, so it's
okay.
simple as that.
Yeah, just get out of here. Why? I froze you, I talked to you in game, you know my
Don't
name
kick
is
him yet,
Sammy.
though. Don't kick him yet. Let you.
So if I say fuck you, is that snap disrespect? Lying to me, man. I don't play with your crap, bro. You mess with me, you mess with my boy. You wanna know who my boy is? My boy is
By age 12, he had already amassed a staggering list of offenses. And what's worse, he enjoyed every minute of it. But even for Open, there were limits to his reign of terror. Server after server, he found himself getting banned. In just over a year, he was blacklisted by nearly every hardcore faction server out there. He had hit a dead end. But for someone like Open, giving up was never an option. If Minecraft was shutting him out, he'd just find another outlet for his dark talents. And what better place than a notorious site called OG User? Now this is where things get really interesting. OG User is an underground marketplace where people buy and sell rare usernames. Names like Open are short, memorable, and in high demand. But here's the catch. Most of these usernames are stolen, hacked from accounts that once belonged to other users. And they can fetch a hefty price. Rare usernames like Mario, John, or even Dream can go for thousands of dollars. People have killed over usernames. In fact, a man recently died because he refused to give up his rare handle, and his attacker resorted to swatting him, leading to a fatal heart attack. So yeah, it might sound innocent on the surface, but the world of username hunting is anything but. Extortion, blackmail, harassment, this is the dark side of online identities. And it's the perfect playground for someone like Open. He quickly realized that all the manipulation and trickery he'd mastered in hardcore faction could be put to even better use here. And once again, Open excelled. But this time, his weapon of choice wasn't Minecraft traps. It was SIM swapping. SIM swapping is a pretty straightforward scam, but it's highly effective. It's all about social engineering. Open would impersonate an employee at a mobile carrier, like T-Mobile, and convince them to transfer a target's phone number to his own SIM card. With that, he could bypass two-factor authentication and reset the victim's accounts, stealing their usernames or even financial information. For nearly 3 years, Open honed this skill, swiping rare usernames left and right. But as he neared 17, he started to feel like this wasn't enough. Sure, a valuable username could sell for around $5,000, but Open wanted more. He craved bigger payouts, and he knew his SIM swapping technique could be used for more than just hijacking Minecraft or Twitter accounts. Why not use it to break into bank accounts, or better yet, crypto wallets? Harder to trace and even more lucrative. And that's when everything changed. Open was no longer satisfied with petty cons. He was ready to make his mark in the world of serious cybercrime, and from here, the stakes would get much, much higher. All right, let me introduce you to Greg Bennett, a man who's been knee-deep in the tech world for over 4 decades. Picture this. He's a self-made millionaire, an OG in the Bitcoin space, investing in crypto way before it was cool. Word on the web is that he's sitting on a digital gold mine, over 400 Bitcoins tucked away in his personal account. That's a life-changing amount of money. But everything changed one day in 2019. It's April 15th. Greg is on the phone with his son, just a regular day. Then out of nowhere, boom, call drops. His phone goes completely dead. No network, no internet. The man's a tech veteran, so he immediately senses something's up. He's not your average guy who panics when their Wi-Fi goes down. He knows this isn't just a random outage. He's being attacked. And he's right. Greg has fallen victim to a SIM swapping attack. For those unfamiliar, that's when a hacker tricks your phone company into switching your number to their device, effectively hijacking your life. And the mastermind behind this? Yep, it's our young cyber prodigy, Open. By the time Greg realizes what's happening, Open's already made off with 164 bitcoins, nearly $1 million back then, worth 6 times that now. Just like that, in the blink of an eye, Open has pulled off what most would call the perfect digital heist. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most cyber criminals would lay low after a score like that, right? Not Open. Nope. He starts showing up to school in designer clothes, rocking a shiny Rolex, and pulling up in a BMW 3 Series. I mean, talk about painting a target on your back. The guy's basically walking around with a neon sign that says, "Come arrest me." And guess what? The FBI doesn't waste any time. Within 2 weeks, they're knocking on his door with a warrant in hand. But here's the kicker. They weren't just expecting to recover the 164 bitcoins stolen from Greg. Oh no. What they found was even crazier. Over 400 bitcoins. This pretty much confirmed one thing. Greg wasn't Open's only victim. This kid was on a roll. But here's where Open caught a serious break. At the time of the heist, he was still a minor, just 17 years and 4 months old. That tiny detail made all the difference. Federal laws around prosecuting minors for financial crimes are tricky, to say the least. The end result? Open doesn't get a harsh sentence. He's forced to return the stolen bitcoins to Greg, and that's it. No jail time, no real consequences. He gets off with a slap on the wrist, and it doesn't end there. Open walks away with over 300 bitcoins still in his pocket. Let's pause for a second. Imagine being 17 years old and having millions of dollars in cryptocurrency. You've just dodged a massive legal bullet. The smart move here would have been to retire from hacking, invest in something legal, and move on with life, right? But that's not how Open sees it. Instead of counting his blessings, he comes to a different conclusion. Being underage makes him untouchable. It's like a light bulb goes off in his head. He realizes he can keep scamming and stealing without facing serious jail time, at least until he turns 18. With only 8 months left before that legal safety net disappears, Open decides to go all in. He starts plotting his next move, something bigger, something legendary, the hack of Twitter itself. Now, Open's not new to messing around with Twitter. He'd already made a name for himself by hijacking and selling rare usernames on OG User. But this was a whole new ballgame. He wasn't interested in individual accounts anymore. He wanted to breach Twitter's entire system. Here's the thing. A platform as big as Twitter isn't just going to roll over for a hacker. Their security is top-notch. But if there's one thing Open knows, it's that no system is invincible. Every fortress has a weak spot. His research reveals a juicy detail. Around 1,500 Twitter employees have access to the admin panel. These employees, in essence, hold the keys to the kingdom. And to Open, that means 1,500 chances to break in. He turns his attention to LinkedIn, of all places. You see, LinkedIn isn't just a networking platform, it's also a treasure trove of information. With a paid recruiter subscription, Open gains access to the phone numbers of employees who've listed them publicly for work opportunities. And remember, this is all happening during the pandemic, when nearly everyone is working remotely. That's when Open's plan comes together. He starts calling up these employees, pretending to be Twitter's technical support. His goal? To convince just one of them to log into what they believe is Twitter's VPN. But in reality, it's a phishing site. He only needs one person to take the bait. Just one. And guess what? He gets it. On May 3rd, 2020, after only a few hours, Open manages to snag the login credentials of a Twitter employee with full admin access. At that moment, he has the power to do anything. He could impersonate world leaders, spread fake news, crash stock markets, or even spark international chaos. The possibilities are endless. For 3 hours, this scam plays out, and Twitter can't stop it. Over 350 million people see the tweets, but despite the massive reach, the results are underwhelming. In total, Open walks away with just 11 bitcoins, about $100,000. For a scam of this magnitude, it's peanuts. And just like before, the FBI is hot on his trail. By the end of July, they've got him in custody again. This time, though, it's serious. He's facing over 30 charges, including organized fraud and identity theft. His bail? A cool $750,000. And while he's still a minor, the court isn't going easy on him this time. His trial, thanks to the ongoing pandemic, is held over Zoom. And in a bizarre twist of events, Open's old crew from OG User decides to crash the virtual courtroom, hacking the Zoom call to stir up some chaos of their own. But even that isn't enough to save Open. The verdict comes in: 3 years behind bars. Had he been just a few months older, that sentence could have easily been a decade or more. But luck, once again, is on his side. Open serves only 7 months in prison, with the rest of his sentence in a correctional facility. As of February 24th, 2023, he's a free man. And in just a few years, once his ban on using the internet is lifted, he'll have access to those 300 plus bitcoins, now worth a staggering $12 million. So where does this leave us? We've followed the rise of Open from a young, reckless hacker who stumbled upon a digital goldmine to a full-blown cyber mastermind who brought Twitter to its knees. He outsmarted some of the world's best tech companies, exploited the legal system, and even now, walks free with a small fortune waiting for him when the clock runs out on his ban. But here's the real question: was it all worth it? Open may have escaped the long arm of the law, for now. But time has a funny way of catching up with you. The thing about playing with fire is that eventually you're going to get burned. Sure, he's got millions in Bitcoin waiting for him, but when he's finally allowed back into the digital world, the landscape will have changed. Technology will be more advanced, laws will be stricter, and he'll have a target on his back. Everyone will be watching him, waiting for his next move. The story of Open isn't just about one hacker's ego. It's a glimpse into the power and the peril of living life on the edge of the law. For a moment, he held the world in the palm of his hand. But the truth is, it could all come crashing down again, just as quickly as it began. So as we watch this story unfold, one can't help but wonder, will Open stay quiet, content with the wealth he's accumulated, or will the thrill of the game be too much to resist? Only time will tell. But in the world of hacking, you're only as good as your last score, and Open's still young, with a lot left to prove.